Well, hey, welcome back to another episode of Flea Market HiFi. This week, I checked out a place here that's real close to home. It's kind of your normal, sometimes crafty, a lot of what I consider to be dead people's stuff, but occasionally I've found some gems here. Wasn't sure walking in if I'd find anything this time, but what immediately caught my eye, I love these old automotive things like this. I just think it's really cool, that and the old Coca-Cola stuff. It just brings back a lot of memories for me, so I always have to stop and look at this stuff for a second before I really get into it. Now, like most of the places around here, there's a lot of DVDs everywhere. I always kind of glance through. I really don't have a DVD collection anymore, but it's still worth looking at. If I find something really interesting, I'll buy it. Now, these were pretty cool. These are 5 1/4 inch floppy disk holders, and it was only $4.25 for the pair. I was really close to buying those. Right across the hall from that was this all-in-one stereo system. Nothing special, but look at that price, $165. Sometimes I wonder what people are smoking. I don't think that thing was that much when it was new, but that's why it's still sitting there. Now, among the vases and stuff, I saw this old realistic CTR-11 hanging on the wall. Had the microphone with it. It's a late 60s cassette deck, cassette recorder with the microphone. I walked away and I had to come back and pick that up. It's just too early of a cassette recorder to leave hanging there. And for $6, yeah, I'll take a chance on it. A little bit further down, this place has probably one of the largest selections of albums and DVDs and even VHS that I've seen anywhere. I mean, if it was made, they probably have it. Now, they don't have it organized at all, so it's one of those things where you either have to look through everything or just go for luck of the draw. And a lot of the VHS stuff looked like they were cheap releases, like maybe mail order stuff or the stuff that you find like in a dollar store back in the day. Not a lot of really big name titles, just, you know, kind of some weird stuff that you'd find at your grandma's house probably. Now, in the last episode, I showed a display from a local record store, and they actually have a setup in this particular vendor mall too. So they've got stuff, looks like, all over the place. I mean, that's 2 states I've been in here relatively close, and this place has a display in both of these stores. A few different cassettes, nothing really that stuck out to me. But, you know, at least they have them here. They're promoting the stuff, and they're keeping it out there and keeping it alive, which, you know, is important to me. I want everybody to, you know, be able to enjoy this stuff, and having stores around that still sell this is great. I always flip through just in case there's a gem in there, but you know most of the good stuff's already been picked through. Even more cassettes on the other side. But they have just about everything. They've got albums, they've got the 45s, they've got cassettes, a little bit of Lobo. Yeah, I've heard of them. But some of this stuff, you know, I don't know who would really want it, which I guess is why it's still sitting in there. Sheena Easton, that brings back memories. My cousin's named after her. Roy Orbison, I guess. Yeah, okay. That might be some decent stuff in there. Right on. The old cameras always catch my eye, too. I really don't need one, but they're always there. I thought that was neat. It's an old radar detector still in the box. I thought that was kind of cool. And looking down, it seems like these photo printers are everywhere. And then it's kind of a mystery thing. What's that? Oh, it's just an old flash. I thought it was going to be something cool. So on this, I actually found this. This is an old keyer. So for those old ham radio guys like me, we recognize those for Morse code. Had to play with it for just a second. If it were something I could use, I probably would have picked it up. But I thought it was just a neat old piece of electronics. And the old toasters. Ever since Technology Connections did that video on toasters that was actually really good. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I have to play with those every time I see them. I was drawn to this just because it's a vertical setup. I think everybody remembers when the CD players kind of went vertical for a while, so you could see the CD spinning around. I always thought they were something kind of cool. And on the way out, this old case caught my eye. It's a Bell & Howell, I think that's a 16 millimeter film camera. brings back memories. I used to have one like that. And it's even got single frame on it for doing animation, which I thought was kind of neat. Yeah, $23, probably not a bad price on it, but I didn't need it. Now this caught my eye because it has the box with it. It's a Windsor 5-band radio. Looks like from 1973. Does police band, it does weather band, AM, FM, just about everything. I thought it was neat, and it's rechargeable. Probably had NiCads in it back in the day. I ended up picking this one up. I thought it was too cool not to buy. Now there's a booth here that always has some kind of old electronics in it, and he's still got quite a few there. This Kenwood double cassette deck caught my eye, and $42 didn't seem like it was a bad price. Said he's cleaned it and it works great. Nice soft eject on it. It wasn't a super high-end unit, and I really don't need another cassette deck, so I passed on that, but somebody's going to get a good deal on that, I think. Now, right over from that, I saw this old AT&T telephone. This is actually a TTY phone for hard of hearing. Stuff like that always fascinates me. Now, I decided to go to another place that I hadn't been in probably a couple of years. It's on the other side of town from where I live, and it's called Looky Looky. Well, we'll looky and see if we find anything. Now, initially, I was kind of disappointed. It was a lot of crafty things and maybe some collector's edition modern toys, stuff like that, old tools. Nothing that really seemed to catch my eye right away. But as I got a little bit further down, I noticed that they had a huge VHS collection in here, and actually some pretty good movies. And if you've been watching the Disney stuff lately, people think they're worth a fortune. Yeah, here you go. Here's a bunch of them for $1 a piece. I was actually tempted to pick up a couple just to relive my youth, but then all these old Atari games caught my eye. So I started flipping through those. I have most of these, and the ones that I didn't have didn't really interest me too much. But Combat, boy, I remember playing that with my dad when I was a kid. We used to play that all the time. And Missile Command, that was always a good one too. Another Combat. Then, Defender. Now that's one I don't have, but I really enjoyed. Only $5 too. Think about that. River Raid, that was my dad's favorite game when I was a kid. He used to play that for hours. What else do we have? Bowling, that's boring. Yeah, Casino, yeah, probably not. I sat here for a while contemplating this Defender game. I just don't use my Atari 2600 enough to justify it. But next time I go back, if it's still there, I'm picking it up. Now another group of cassettes with some that kind of brought back some memories. Wang Chung, yeah, everybody have fun tonight? Almost bought that. I thought that was kind of a cool one. What else have we got? Heart, Paul Young. Well, that brings back memories too. I used to listen to him when I was a teenager. What else we got? Oh, here's a Whitney Houston album, which was kind of neat, but this one is on chrome tape, something that you didn't see very often back in the day. Almost picked that one up too. Now, among the various junk piles of electronics, I saw this Bose Adaptique, which was looked like something to set up your audio system to make sure everything was calibrated properly. I thought that was kind of neat, but nothing really of interest there. Until I got to the next shelf, I saw a CRT monitor, and it said Brother on it. I'm like, well, that's interesting. But then I looked over to the right-hand side, and there's a Brother word processor typewriter, so I guess the monitor goes to that. It said it was a set. Kind of cool, but for $100, I don't really need that too much. Then I saw this. This is an HP Pavilion 6535, and it had the monitor with it too. It's a 466 megahertz Celeron. I mean, probably late 90s, early 2000s computer in nice shape, but I just couldn't justify $120. So on this haul, not a whole lot, but I did end up with that really cool Windsor radio, the multi-band AM, FM, air, police, and weather, which I thought was really cool. It just looks great. It's got a leather case, nice big knobs on it, power light, couple of switches, and the way that speaker looks, I couldn't pass that up. Not for $9. I had to have it. We'll do a video on that one soon. But even the box is kind of cool. Really nice early 70s vibe to it. And the artwork on it is just great. I mean, look at that. It just tells you exactly what it does right there. And then the old realistic compact cassette deck. You know, the fact that it says compact cassette tells you that it's an early model. And like I say, this one I think is late 60s, probably 1968, 1969. So I'm glad I picked this one up. I think it'll be a neat one to research, and hopefully it works, or we can get it working and we can do a video on that pretty soon too. That's all I got for this week. Appreciate you coming along, and make sure you join me next time for Flea Market Hi-Fi.